going to leave you here. If you already have a Tinkercad account, you're going to see all of your designs listed on there, but this is your dashboard. And so what we're going to do is we're going to create new design. Go ahead and close out of my extra tab there. And this is going to open it up to what we like to call your plane. And so let me tell you a little bit about what Tinkercad is. Tinkercad is a 3D printing software. And so what you design in Tinkercad, you can 3D print. And so this plane is what's going to talk to our 3D printer. And so there's a couple of things we need to make sure that we have set correctly so that the conversation between our design and the 3D printer can happen. Down in the bottom right corner, you'll see something that's called Edit Grid. And when you click on that, it's going to bring it up and the units are in millimeters. The first thing we want to do is change that to inches. So again, bottom right corner was a button, Edit Grid, and that's all we're going to do. And we're just going to click Update Grid so that what we are viewing is in inches, because when it talks to our 3D printers, it is going to communicate in inches. So we want to make sure that we have all of that good stuff in. So now let's get to the fun part. Let's get to creating a design. So for the purpose of this video, I want you to follow my steps. It's a video. Pause me if you need to, rewind me, fast forward me. You may already know all of this. You're going to drag a red box onto your plane. Okay, so what we have done, we've already taken a pre-made box and we've dragged it onto our plane. And so there's all kinds of things we can do with this box. So I want to walk through some of the shapes that you see. So these white boxes, when you click them and drag them, you can make it bigger, smaller. I think I'm going to make, for the purposes of this, let's do a swimming pool. And then the triangle at the top is what will move it. Actually, this is not making it taller. It's moving it up and down on the plane. And this is important when we 3D print because we want that number on the side there to be 0. And here's what that means. In the top left, you'll see where we can rotate our plane. We don't want our object hanging underneath the plane. And what I mean by that is, I'll show you. You see now how this number is at -3/8 of an inch. That means it is sitting under the plane -3/8. Our 3D printers are not going to print under a plane. Think of that plane as the plate that it's 3D printed on. So we want to make sure that the object is sitting at 0. Okay, so again, that'll come into play a little bit more too. So again, this cube, it kind of depends on what view you like to see. I kind of like to be able to see. That's the front view. I like to be able to see everything. Okay. Now you can change the color of your shape. But let me say this, do not spend time messing with color for your project because you're gonna print your shape, the shapes that we print. Our printers only have one filament color that we run at a time. We can do multi-layers with different colors, but it takes some time and nobody's got a lot of time these days. So you can put yellow right there, but if there's blue filament in our printer, guess what? It's going to be blue. So don't spend a lot of time playing. For the purposes of today, I'm going to pick something that's blue because we're going to create a swimming pool for this tutorial. So again, pause me if you need to. You can go back and forth between the video if you need to. So next what we're going to do is create some empty space, right? So let's say if I'm making a swimming pool, this is going to be the outside of my swimming pool. And now I need to cut a hole for the water to go in. So when you look back over here at basic shapes, there's a box right here. And so when they're gray like this, that is our hole. So what I just did was stuck a hole in there. And now I have a new set of white dots, right? So my swimming pool, I want my hole to kind of be along the outside here. Okay, and I'm gonna make it a little wider and see if that works. Now, that is not a hole yet. All we did was place an empty shape into that shape in order to make it a hole. So if we printed this right now, it would still print a rectangle, a solid rectangle, which actually takes a lot of filament because that means everything inside of it is solid. We have to group our objects. And so to do that, I'm going to change my view just a little bit. Up here at the top, whoops, let me click out here. Oh, is it going to let me? Why isn't it letting me? Oh, I know what it is. I'm going to highlight my whole shape now. Everything. Just like that. And now you'll see up here it's this weird looking little, looks like a chunky arrow, but it's really a square and a circle together, we need to group these objects. And so I'm just going to click that button. And now you can see your hole that you've done. Now let's just say, oh, I want to mess with my hole again. All you have to do is highlight it and you can ungroup right here. So let's just say you wanted to go back and make your hole and your shape a little different. You can do that too. So there's always group and ungroup. Again, you've got to highlight that whole shape to tell it what to do. So play around with that. Usually people need to use holes in shapes versus creating a shape from scratch. This is usually the easiest way to do that. So we have now learned how to drag. We have drug a shape onto our plane. We have created a hole. We have gone over how to rotate our plane. And so now what we're going to do is talk a little bit about how we can insert a shape in a shape. So let's just say within my swimming pool, I want to put a round float hanging out in there or something. So I'm going to drag a cylinder over here, right? So now I have a shape and a shape. And again, I can make this go wherever I want to. Let's just say maybe this wasn't a swimming pool. Let's say maybe this was a house. I could lift this up, and again, you have to toggle your view, right? There, toggle your view. I could spread it out. I wouldn't use a cylinder for a roof, obviously, but you could make a roof for a house and then group it, and that's what it would print. And we won't get into supports and how not to allow your print to cave in today. We'll work with the folks that we're printing with on that. But anyway, that kind of gives you an idea of how you can do that.